Thank you very much. I think as I go back through this, we seem to be somewhat evenly split here on what's going on. There are kind of 9 beach associations that I wrote a letter to way back when, asking for their opinion, March 26, 2010. And the issues that boiled down in that particular conversation we had a few years ago was the issue of liability for the town, and we have a copy of the letter from town council talking about that liability. But it's been pointed out, there's, in this day and age, there's liability with everything that we do. My particular concern at the time had to do with Giants Neck Heights and what I thought to be an extreme safety problem up there in terms of the depth and the steepness of some of those entry-level roads and the access to the beach. And I think that kind of killed it. I don't know about Attawan. Is anybody here from Attawan Beach? Is that part of, when you say Black Point, is that
No.
considered?
It also has a charter.
Huh?
It's a separate
Separate
beach
charter.
association.
So if that were separated out, would that be,
Separated out.
that would not be, and so Black Point starts from
Billow Road.
Billows south, kind of,
Yes.
south and
There are
east?
actually only 3 roads in or out. You could actually post no golf carts beyond this point. Coming in at Billow,
Right.
down at the bottom.
And Woodland.
Old Blackwood Road, and the one at the chain over in Old Blackwood.
And so what I did, and my memory may not be as good as it used to be, but of the 9 beaches, we have Black Point Beach, Saunders Point, Giants Neck, which would be the south of the tracks, Pine Grove, Old Black Point, Crescent Beach, and Oak Grove Beach.
You
And,
didn't mention the heights.
huh?
You didn't mention the heights.
Giants
I
Neck
did.
Heights.
No, I didn't. I mentioned those 7. Now, those 7, to me, I don't see as having much of a safety issue, although Crescent Beach, there's a lot of traffic in and around the beach area there, and it may be, but there seems to be a parking issue there that perhaps might be alleviated with this particular advent of the ordinance. The other 2, Attawan Beach and Giants Neck Heights, I would think would be more of a safety issue. In Attawan Beach, really having no place, if you're going to the beach, I don't know if there's a place to park the golf carts
No.
there. I don't remember seeing that.
I walk
And
by
so-
Attawan every day. There is
Yeah.
no parking
Yeah,
at
so
Attawan
it would
Beach.
end up to be a traffic and safety hazard there. So I may suggest, even though this request has been for one beach, I may suggest that, none of us seem to want to be doing this, at every meeting or, ad infinitum to the end of time until all the beach associations come in. So what if we were to approve this as to allowed by the state statute, which enables us to provide the authorization to permit the operation of golf carts, which is what the language is in 14-300G. And we identified those area, Black Point, Saunders Point, Giants Neck, Pine Grove. I think the ordinance calls for us having to identify the streets. So I don't know that we would be able to.
I think Attorney Collins, at our last, or meeting that she did discuss it, actually had the boundaries, so
The
it
maps,
was
yeah,
a
but
part of
here-
that was part of it. I don't think you have to say every street, but I mean, it was the boundaries.
So what I would like to do is have the board consider if we draw this up, given those 7 and eliminating those 2 for just safety purposes.
Right.
And I imagine if they're interested, they'll come make the argument. And then we provide those restrictions as required by the Connecticut general statutes. And then the regulation concerning the use of golf carts, which was not adopted or as amended for the town of East Lyme, and we perhaps add any other item that we may have talked about that's not the same in here, although I don't see anything here. We could certainly say in our ordinance that it would say any valid driver's license, and then if someone challenged us being in violation of the state statute, I suppose we could figure that out. But we have the times, we have the limits, passengers, we have operated in the following areas of the town, highlighted map included, and at no time will these vehicles be allowed on any other roads than those specified. And I think that satisfies perhaps some of the concern on the left side here, where we're not doing it for just one, and my concern for safety and liability, and I think it addresses Mr. Wilson's comments with regard to, here's someone coming and asking for permission, and yet we'll see people coming and asking for forgiveness, and kind of like a good marriage, I guess. But, maybe there's a way to get this done so we don't have to do it.
I would be
willing-
much more in favor if we were not looking at a single beach and could at least do, what is that?
7 out of
5/8 of
9.
them or
Yes.
whatever.
So I probably have that map in here, but I would like the opportunity, not this evening, to go through that map, identify those boundaries and/or streets, come back with and I'll provide this copy of the golf cart usage to everybody prior to with the maps, and we'll put it on the agenda for the April 16th meeting. If that meets with your approval, and we'll go forward, because we have statements by the East Lyme resident trooper saying that he would, enforce the laws of the land. Right now, they're not there. And that might give us an opportunity to look amongst these roads. But I would suggest that we get from each beach association a statement of support instead of a generic statement, something where they met and said, we are in favor of this officially, as that. We'll ask these beach associations, they're mostly gonna be coming to meet in this next month anyway, so maybe not by the 16th, but maybe we can get that done within a period of time.
We don't have a meeting on the 16th, I believe, that we
I-
voted.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
that's correct, because
Okay.
none of us are going to be here.
Yeah.
Just.
We don't have a quorum
I
for the
wasn't
16th.
sure, as soon as you said it, then you verified that. So we could have a special meeting the following week,
Do
or
we
we could
have-
wait until May.
The
And
first
then
one in May.
Published, and then it takes.
I hate to say that things are not going the same without Darlene here, but, she.
Put that in the minutes so she
I
can
don't
read
wanna-
that
I
later.
don't wanna
She'll
give
want
her
to hear
yeah.
that.
I wonder if Attorney
deserves
Collins
that.
might like to comment.
I was gonna ask Attorney Collins to comment, but let's talk, did we reschedule that meeting, or is that?
You did, I can look on the calendar and I'll know.
What?
That you
That we scheduled
When it
the
was
April
rescheduled?
meeting. Did we move it to the next week?
Yeah, I don't remember doing that. Did you do that? Perhaps I was gone.
No,
You have no
No.
idea what goes on when you're not.
I know. It's
Maybe,
cool.
but I think
See,
I know
still-
2 of us are traveling at least.
I'm gone.
And you're going, there's 3 of us that
Oh,
are
the
traveling.
23rd. Did you have it on the 23rd?
I don't have my calendar. Oh, yes.
I have a Board of Selectmen meeting on the 16th and the 23rd.
Well, the
Well,
16th,
you can come by on the
16th
16th.
you'll be here on your own, and the 23rd we'll all show up.
I have no meeting on the 16th, but one on the 23rd.
Yeah. And that's, we did.
And I think that probably will make the Memorial Day unofficial deadline for beach associations, even if we require effective upon publication, which we could do, and we'll take Mrs. Cheney up on paying for the cost of the ordinance.
Publication, that's beautiful. I like that.
So
Well, all the beaches can
maybe by
divide
that
it up.
time, the state will, the legislature will have passed the opportunity for legal ads to be summarized. Kim, don't listen to this. Put your ears on. Just cover your ears. Summarize the item in the newspaper and then post the particulars on our website, which, by the way, Mr. Mingo brought up, was hacked a couple of weeks ago, and that's what he's referring to. It was all taken down, and Carmen is in the process of rebuilding it. We were able to get a backup to 1 year ago, and so she's now entering all of those things. And of course, it includes an election where everybody changed, lots of people changed, so there's a lot of things for that. But anyway, that's off the record here. I mean, off the top.
We're not going to vote on this.
Huh?
We're not going to vote on this.
Well, did you want to ask
No.
Attorney Collins
Well, I
anything?
didn't know if she wanted to comment on it.
Do you have any comments based on my idea?
No, I have no comments. What I was getting out in my charter is to make sure that if, I'm sorry, I don't have any comments on the substance of your conversation. As you know, we've already drafted an ordinance which includes all of the beach communities, so I think it would just require some simple changes to take off the ones that you had mentioned. My only question is that will there be enough time to have a public hearing on the ordinance and then pass it? And that's why I was looking at my
Okay.
charter.
So if we had the first meeting in May, would be May 2nd? May 7th. A public hearing on May 7th?
Yes, or you could order the public hearing to be at your next meeting.
And then provide the details of that first,
Yes.
that I talked about?
Yes.
How do you folks feel about that?
Will we,
Well,
as long as we have everything in time, do you think we'll have all the necessary
It's
information
almost-
to call the
Well,
public?
I'm gonna just,
Yeah.
reinvent
We've already
this
done
stuff. I-
Okay, yeah,
eliminate
that's
what-
fine with me.
What gave me agita and identify from the map where we are in terms of boundaries, if you will, or streets, if we will, and then go from there. And then
Although
we'll-
I guess my idea won't work though, because you would have to meet and approve of this.
We gotta meet
ordinance.
first, and
Yeah.
then we gotta, you can't have a town meeting before we approve it.
That's right, so
Well,
you,
that's not a town meeting,
It's a public hearing
Public hearing, but,
at the next meeting, and then we'd have to schedule the public.
We could have
the
a
town
public
meeting.
hearing presenting this stuff, because
Why not?
it doesn't have to be approved for a public hearing, does it? It has to be presented at a public hearing.
that's correct.
Yes.
So-
That's what
okay, I mean,
that's
it's
what
not a
zoning
town
does
meeting,
all the
so
time.
that,
It's not
that
a
makes
town
it
meeting,
a
it's a
total
public
difference. So
hearing.
we could have the presentation of it, and then we could deal with that afterwards, approve it, and move it on
Well,
to,
it might give us an opportunity to have the public hearing, say it's 6:30 on the 23rd. Is that the date, the 23rd?
Yep.
23rd.
There.
Yeah.
And then present whatever it is that we put together for that public hearing, and
all
then
right, I'm
take
all for,
suggestions.
I'm all for that. That'll
Take
be, that'll be
suggestions at our
fun.
meeting and modify it as a result of the public hearing, and then vote on it to approve and move it forward. How,
You did do that last time, is made some modifications, but then it didn't pass.
okay. Yeah,
I
I'm
mean-
not guaranteeing passage, I'm guaranteeing another
Yeah.
bite at the apple.
How many days notification do we need for town meeting?
For
A
public
public
hearing.
hearing.
Public
After the public hearing, after we hear the public hearing, and should we vote, and then move it to a town meeting?
5 days.
14
We just
days?
need 5 days.
I don't know that we need a town
don't
meeting.
We don't
Oh,
need
we
a
don't.
town
Don't need
meeting.
it.
No, it's an
Okay.
ordinance, so you
Don't
don't
need
need
a
it, you don't need a town meeting at all.
This is where you earn your money.
Got
Vote
it.
On the ordinance,
Let me write that down.
Get on your cart.
okay?
Golf cart.
Does
we
that,
get it.
does that meet, does
No, that's
anybody
fine.
want me to go another direction, or
We just
No,
moved it to
no,
6:30?
that's, it's a great compromise, and that's what we should be doing.
does 6:30 work for everyone on the 23rd?
6:30 sounds good to me.
That gives
Yeah.
people plenty of time to come and,
You gonna be around, Sally? Any more grandkids or?
No more
Okay,
grandchildren
okay.
coming this month.
All right.
I will not be back yet, but
all right.
Okay.
I'll call tonight to tell them
Okay.
All right,
So
that
how's
sounds
that?
good.
So I don't know that we have to take any motion to table, because nothing's happened, but we'll go there and,
Thanks.
okay, so the next item then, well, why don't, you have all that?
Thank you, Roseanne.
Thank you, Roseanne, appreciate you staying, I know you're not feeling so hot. You have all of that, Karen? You notice a number of communications that we have there. One is the final grand list figures. The Board of Finance is meeting, so I thought you should have that. So the next item would be ex officio reports. Anybody want
I have
to
none.
go?
I have none.
I have no report.
There you go.
Okay, well,
It's you.
Yeah.
I have a small report. Which I'll keep brief because it's 9:30. If you want me to not give my report, is that what
You could postpone it, but
We've already got 3
but the
meetings.
citizens know what you've
Three
been up
meetings
to.
of reports here already.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, my.
As you know, the boardwalk passed, the boardwalk appropriation passed at a town meeting a week or so ago, and the next step is to get Amtrak. We are meeting with Amtrak on April 11th for the purposes of identifying those issues they have with regard to the track revetment modification and the personnel and safety issues to go forward. So I'm hoping to keep this moving. You heard our committee chairman talk about steel. We cannot order the steel until and when we assign the contract. So we're trying to work as expeditiously as we can. That's why it wasn't put on the agenda this evening. We have to issue the contract to the contractor, and then he can order the steel. But we do have a hold on the price for 40 days, I believe, from the steel manufacturer. So we will perhaps run into an issue with concrete. I'm not taking any exception to what our esteemed chairman talked about in terms of the weather, but we're going to do the best we can to do the best we can. We did hold some health meetings with Aetna about changing our insurance program for the town, and that will be moving forward, I believe, July 1st. I did have a meeting with the chairman of the Old Lyme Water and Sewer Commission, and it's relevant because some of those beach communities are interested in coming this way to use our sewer capacity conveyance to get to the New London treatment plant. At the same time, Old Lyme is working with the DEP for their on-site treatment plant, so there's some issues, and I just got a copy of a report there, so there may be some hybrid of the two. I attended and started the 7th annual O Niantic race, which brought 1,600 and so runners to downtown, which is always a success. So I'd like to thank the Hartford Marathon Group for all of their hard work.
What was your finishing time?
What I did was I ran the track early just to make sure there were no rocks or anything on it. I didn't time myself, but I wanted to make sure it was in
You
good
were in the
shape.
broom bed?
Appreciate
I wanted to
that.
make sure it was all
Yeah, that was
finished.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so then I just watched after that, so.
Okay.
The Board of Finance has been working on budget reviews, and we're coming to the deliberations portion. They have, in fact, suggested that any of the cuts to town departments may be on a bottom line basis and allowing the town department heads, who are the experts, and myself to identify those particular line items. I don't believe that I need Board of Selectmen approval for that, but I can certainly bring it back and tell you what we're doing because you passed that budget forward. I did go up to the Hartford and testify on a number of bills, mostly focusing on the education mandate, which would cost us, as you know, $376,000 or $96,000 in new administrative staff for the teacher evaluation program that they're mandating, which is quite onerous not only on our administrators but on our teachers, and it provides less student teaching time. So we're working on that, and I also testified on dispatch language to create the entity that would be the overriding manager of the regional dispatch. In other words, it will not be one town that manages it, but this entity of which equal representation will be amongst the towns to go in. So we needed specific language from the legislature to do that, and they did. We sent them the exact language they needed. They modified it, so we're in the process of making sure that works. Union contract negotiations are ongoing with the police, and we'll begin the fire union contract shortly. First meeting of Celebrate East Lyme occurred, and then I was able to go with the mayor's Meals on Wheels program and go around with our great volunteers from the Senior Center TVCCA who provide this wonderful service to the seniors. I was able to visit 14 homes that day, and what dawns on you is not only the need for hot meals and meals to sustain, but we need to have some of these folks, it's the only contact that they have with people. So the unintended consequences as we talk about creating laws and cutting budgets is that people may get away with a little bit less food, but the people contact is so important. So it's really important to promote TVCCA. They're having a great fundraiser coming up next week at the Port and Starboard, their Carnival thing. The tickets are relatively reasonable, and I would hope that everybody supports that to the extent they feel comfortable. We had a meeting at SEAT. As you know, I'm the new representative, and we're trying to have CEOs populate the SEAT, which is Southeastern Area Transit, in an effort to broader the scope to that instead of making it a 9-town, to make it a very regional transit system, especially given the fact that we'll be having a large event, tourist tourist situations generating, if the Coast Guard Museum and some of, in fact, our beach and some of the other stuff goes forward, we're gonna need to have a more robust transit system. So that is my report. Pretty quick, huh?
That's pretty
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That was amazing.
Very
Not fast.
impressive.
Whole page
Yeah.
of stuff.
Thanks.
Nice job.
Yes. Any public comment? Mr. Steele?
Good evening. I'm Rich Steele, 23 Rose Lane, East
evening.
Lyme.
Thank you for your
And,
patience.
oh, thank you. Entertaining meeting. I came to talk tonight about the Gateway Development Project. And as you all see as you drive along 95, that there has been quite a swath of trees that have been taken out. There have been reports of machinery going over wetlands areas and things like that. If we go back 8-10 years or so ago when the Gateway Development Project was first getting rolling, and the developers came out and had community meetings and asked for input from residents of various neighborhoods of East Lyme, the project had a certain flavor to it. And at that point in time, it was not a mixed development project. It was going to be a small, beautiful New England-y type town setting, commercial setting. Small stores, restaurants, pretty sidewalks, benches, an aesthetically pleasing place to be. Since that, we've gone through several different gyrations of the project. The developers have come back to the town repeated times to get mixed zoning to be able to put in apartments. Originally, it was going to be condos and houses. It's turned out to be 10 apartment buildings with, I believe, 1 to 2 bedroom apartments, if memory serves me correctly. Originally, this project was not to be a strain on town resources, especially our schools, which our first selectman just pointed out are facing an onerous task of abiding by federal regulations for teacher evaluation. If people move into those 2-bedroom apartments, I would assume there would probably be some children that would be coming into the schools and straining our school resources. With all that said, and hearing that Costco is going to be our anchor store, I sincerely hope we can do some things to make this a more pleasurable experience than an onerous one. I remember when Stop and Shop got developed on Flanders Road, the design was to have it blend in and sort of look not like a big box that it actually is, but from the exterior, maybe look like several different stores put together. That is what I hope could happen with Costco, that we retain some of the integrity of our town and the life of our town, and that those 4 or 5 other 10,000 square foot stores can also be made to look like a New England village. The other aspect that concerns me is with driving by and hearing and seeing all the trees being taken down, is that as this gets developed, we really face some environmental impact. One, the commercial zone and the residential zone straddle the wetlands. So drainage is very important. I really like the way the town has experimented with different drainage options at the town beach parking lots. And I would hope that we could kind of build in something like that with the developers to have a state-of-the-art parking facility that would not impact our environment needlessly. Additionally, lighting is very important. We heard from the Solarize in Connecticut that we want to save energy. So hopefully the developers will be using LED lighting, and hopefully the light pollution from this development can be minimized by downpointing the lights and not having them broadcast all over. And So those are my simple requests, and I hope that as we go forward, the public is kept well informed as to what this is going to look like, and also how it will impact our traffic patterns, whether or not there are changes with the interchange on the interstate. So thank you for your time, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I can address a few of those items if you don't run right
Oh,
out.
sure.
No, I mean, you can, I'll let other folks speak at public comment, but then we have an opportunity for selectmen's response.
Oh, okay.
So, anyone else like to speak at? Ms. Johnson? She beat you. She said Ms. Cheney could go first. Does it matter?
Sure.
You're
I
closer.
wasn't gonna speak again, but I'll just start with the.
I love that. I wasn't gonna speak.
Well, you know, I just can't stop talking. But I feel the need, because Bob is not here, to defend him. He took a crack from Barbara Johnson, I'm going to put it flat that way, because he used to be the chairman of the Board of Governors, now he was driving a golf cart. He came to the town. There was some misunderstandings in the information he got between him and how it was given to him. But he didn't even buy one until he was told, in so many words, he could have one. He bought one. When he was finally told he shouldn't drive one, he parked it. It's been in his son's garage or his driveway ever since. And he has not been driving. He's very law-abiding. And so that, and Roseanne had said, well, I understand one of our presenters was someone driving it illegally. Well, not to the best of his knowledge, so I just feel I have to defend that. That's what we're doing here, asking it to be legal. That's why we're here. So that's what I'm for, and thank you for finding some way around this problem.
Okay. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you very much for the delay till April 23rd. Appreciate that. But I'm asking that the information be available before the night of the meeting or the hearing, whatever you're going to call it, public informational hearing. But I would like to see it a little ahead of time, please. And because it seems as though you're changing the statute that says Connecticut drivers only, and you're apparently, the way I understand it, saying that anybody that has a driver's license can do it. So how can you change the statute without going to the legislature? That's not your job, maybe, and it may be too late because it's a short year. But anyways, that's a big part that I have, that the legislature did say Connecticut drivers only. And we don't have just Connecticut people in Black Point. The other thing is, I didn't hear you say anything about a horn or a flag or something to secure the back riders on the golf cart like we did 3 years ago. It was
It's all the
seat
same.
belts
It's all
or
in there.
something like that to
It's all in there.
secure the back part of the, again, we don't have the parking. Definitely not. We haven't voted on it through our members of the Black Point, never mind just the Board of Governors who have not voted on it this year, or any time that I know of, because I gave you papers that the chairman of the Board of Governors strictly said he will not enforce any of the road violations. Now, you run into a problem, who's going to enforce it? Our police that are running ragged because of the summer people being here, and who's going to enforce anything like that? I don't know how you're going to create a nightmare for that enforcement. But the other problem I see is, why did you eliminate Giant Neck Heights, which wanted it, through Selectman Hogan, and also Attawan? Now that's interesting, because Attawan, we have to go through to get to Black Point. So did you do it because that way we don't have golf carts on West End Avenue? I mean, I really don't know where your thinking here is, other than maybe to satisfy a few people. But I would like to have our association members be advised of this. And also, Mr. Formica did come to our meeting on a May meeting, and said right now it was illegal. But they're still riding around. So anyways, that's it.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Johnson. Anyone else like to speak under public comment, sir?
I hate, David Ogle, again, 19 Park Court. I hate to keep belaboring this golf cart thing, but I'd feel remiss if I didn't comment on a couple of the statements that Mrs. Johnson made. First of all, in her earlier comments, she made reference to she inferred or implied that perhaps golf carts could exceed the 20-mile-per-hour speed limit that is the requirement, maximum speed requirement on the Black Point Association roads. Anyone who's ever driven a golf cart or been with them knows that they don't come remotely close to 20 miles per hour. I mean, if you're lucky, you'll get them 10 to 12 miles per hour, so that's not an issue of concern. Second of all, she just said again that we don't have any parking. Well, in fact, we have a very large parking lot on Whitecap Avenue, about 90 feet from the entrance to the main beach, which is the most popular and most heavily used beach in Black Point. And it's also 90 feet or less from the Seabreeze Beach, which is probably the second most popular beach. Anyone who now drives a car and got a golf cart to use in lieu of that would therefore not be driving a car. If you can get 50 cars into that parking lot, you can probably get 150 golf carts in there. So it alleviates, as First Selectman Formica said, it alleviates the parking problem, doesn't compound it. And third, there was a question about storage of golf carts. Well, first of all, not every lot is only 40 by 100 in Black Point. Now they have to be, any new lots have to be, I think, 80, maximum of 80 by 100. But first, more importantly, I can't envision anyone purchasing a golf cart if they didn't have a place to store it on their property. I don't know why anybody would buy one if they couldn't store it on their property. So those were the comments that I just wanted to clarify and make sure that you understood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak under public comment? Hearing none. Selectman response? Just me?
Go ahead.
I just wanted the Gateway situation, the original approval, and I believe it was 2008 or 9, did call for a mixed-use development. The master plan did have 275 apartments approved in the very back behind the westerly side of the wetlands, access from Dean and Society Road, West Society Road, and 425,000 square feet of retail that was proposed for the area adjacent to the True Value Lumber, where the old shack building was, and back to the wetlands there. There was a big box approved. It did have specifications, as you suggested, to make it look more blended instead of one big box. And we do have copies of posters outside in the lobby of those residential units. And they did come back and ask to go from 275 to 280, and it had to do with the configurations of the building to add the 5 more apartments, and zoning did that. So this is now up to zoning enforcement officer and the zoning commission for master site plan approval so that it concurs with the plan that's already been approved. Costco is coming in, I think, for their site plan approval sometime in January, I believe, or late fall. The 280 apartments will be 10 apartment buildings and 1 clubhouse. They expect to have the first 2